There's no place like the Cube.
Welcome to Joy in the Breakthrough, a podcast where we'll be talking to a wide range of leaders from different generations and backgrounds. Leaders who have found power in being broken open. I'm Connie Lindsey.
And I'm Anna Valencia. We are your hosts, and we believe that our challenges can lead to breakthroughs, and we want to share these insights with you.
We hope these stories will inspire you to find the I'm possible in you.
Welcome back to part 2 of our Ain't Love Grand conversation, featuring the men in our lives, John and Reyahd. During part 1, we shared our love stories and talked about how we navigate our public, private, and professional lives. Connie and I definitely are stretching ourselves again to be transparent, open, and authentic about our relationships because we know as viewers and listeners, that's what you want to hear. And that's how we live our life, whether it's behind closed doors in our home or out in public. And now for this episode, we are going to dig into how we resolve conflict at our homes and communicate with love all the way through the complexities of our married life. Are you ready, Connie?
Totally ready. And I think the key phrase that you use is communicating with love. Doesn't mean that we don't disagree. We're unique individuals. Relationships help us grow. They help us learn about ourselves and about the person with whom we're in relationship. And so as things can become challenging, as we grow, we're going to learn, and it's important to learn ways to communicate more clearly to make sure that both people feel heard and seen. Doesn't mean that you're always going to agree, but it is at least important to acknowledge whatever it is we're disagreeing about, but to remain true to who we are. And sometimes there is compromise, but it's how we get that done. And it's also knowing when to go to our neutral corners and say, right now we're going to agree to disagree, but here's my viewpoint and here's your viewpoint, and move it from there. Doing it in a healthy way, I think, is what's most important.
I couldn't agree more. This is something Reyahd and I have really tried to tackle in our marriage early on and still to this day of how do we have conflict that is healthy and helps us grow and move past it, and how are we communicating clearly? And you said neutral corners. That is totally like our relationship. Sometimes we need those neutral corners. And Reyahd will discuss this in this clip a little bit about a tip or technique that our sister-in-law gave us when we are having conflict and arise and kind of taking that neutral corners and taking that breath. Let's hear what Reyahd has to say in this clip here.
We learned from my brother and sister-in-law. Yeah. And she told Anna, hey, we use a safe word, right? And this causes us, to go to your corner. And, what's interesting about that is two things. Because of how Anna lets loose and feels comfortable at home, lets loose meaning she's not as intense, etc. I'm always like that. And so I would think she was weak at work, right? And so I would still be not intense or disrespectful with her, but I would be very direct. I would not be as patient or as calm with her at home. And I would then, question her leadership ability and things when she wasn't working in the political workspace. And she's like, look, boy, I'm nice with you. I'm a different person when I'm out there. That was odd for me to have, because I'm black and white, it was odd for her to be that way there and then come home. And so when she told me that our sister-in-law and brother did this, she created a word. And so when you're ever in our presence, if we bicker because we're so strong-minded, people think, you guys are going to get divorced. You guys are going to give each other heart attacks. We're like, no, we're not. We're just having a discussion, but not to everyone else. Anna, tell them what the word is so people know.
Peace is our word. And that would say, I know Reyahd said our safe word, but it's really our word that means pause. I need a break. I need a moment to self-regulate my emotions, especially me, because my husband is a lawyer and he tends to be ready to argue at any point. And he can break down what I'm about to say in 2.5 seconds, which then frustrates me more. And then I just will blow my stack and say things that I regret. And so I have to say, okay, peace. That does not mean I'm running away from conflict. It means I need a moment to gather my thoughts. Sometimes I need to write things down and maybe even practice with myself a little bit before I come back and have this conversation. Because we do have a rule in our home that let's not go to bed angry. Let's not let the sun go down while still angry. And I know that's biblical as well, Connie, and I'm sure you could tell me what scripture. But that's really important for us because I don't want to say things, and I have in the past, that hurt or cut in a wrong way. And that could take us even longer to get through that conflict. So peace is our word. I want to thank my sister-in-law for giving us that idea. And so sometimes I'll be in the car and so frustrated. I'm going to say, peace, 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 please stop.
I like that. And it is understanding who our person is, their style. I, as you all know, have a love affair with words. I speak very quickly. And if I am in conflict, I know that I can put words together that could definitely, as you said, we don't want to cut people. We definitely don't want to do that. It's one of the definitions of diplomacy is being able to tell people to go to hell in such a way they thank you for the trip. So I had to master that a lot in navigating a corporate career. And in my relationship at home, John is very contemplative. So he's not going to be outwardly aggressive or hostile about anything. He's going to have his point. He's going to state it. And he's not going to, want to go through a whole bunch of debate. So we have learned to communicate in that way. I'll state, here's my position. Here's the thing that bothers me. He'll acknowledge it. And we learn to respect each other in how we communicate and the way we receive information. If it's something that needs correction or whatever. And so it doesn't escalate into a screaming crazy match. It's here's what it is. And learning to say things like, when you do X, here's how that affects me, or here's how I feel about it. And then he gets to respond. And he's not going to use as many words. That's just not who he is, but it's me understanding and interpreting that and asking questions to bring it out and knowing when to say, this is as far as we can go on this issue. We're going to pause and come back to it if we need to. Because I'm still, it's the behaviors. It's how do we adapt and change after we come to these places. If I know there's something that, doesn't work for you or displeases you in some way, and I can do something about it, I love you. I want to do that. Not in a manipulative sort of way, but in a way that says, okay, here's a preference that I have, not demands. Here's my preference. My preference is that we do things this way or you do things this way. And it's navigating through all of that. But once again, we both want to feel seen and heard and respected for who and how we are. You don't have to change for me. Don't want that. I don't need that. You don't have to, be someone who you're not. Because at some point, if you're trying to fake your way through it, you're ultimately going to go back to the place where you feel most comfortable. So let's work our way through it and, land in that place of mutual respect.
I 100% agree. And I think we sometimes put our expectations of what you want on that person. And it's unfair because that's not how they are. Then they're not being authentically themselves. We're putting these expectations and on how they should communicate, how they should handle conflict. And that brings me to another subject that I know we talked about this on the last episode too, and I want to dig in here because there's a lot more to share, is we can't expect our partners to bring all of our joy to us as well. Or we can't put that pressure or expectation on them to make us happy all the time, every single day, because that's not realistic. And it's not how the world works. I mean, we were joyful people before we met our partners. We had a whole life before we met our partners, our husbands. And we found that joy, whether it's inner working our joy or it's through our chosen family or our family or friends or however you want to call that. And so I'd love to dig into this a little bit more about chosen family and how our spouse can't, how our chosen family shows up for us and how our spouse shows up in different ways and how they complement. Because you talk about this all the time, I know, with John and his friends.
One of the lessons that I live by is not to expect me from other people. That wisdom is there is a way that I approach life. There's a way that I treat other people and that I show up. I don't necessarily expect everyone to respond to me based on how I respond to other people. I don't give a gift and keep the value. So if my natural way of showing care and compassion for others is being present with them, but your way, Anna, might be to send a gift or do something like that. I don't expect me from other people. Now, I also expect people to treat me in certain ways, but that's so important. Now, when you talk about friends and family, I often marveled when I first met John that he was still friends with people, and he is to this very day, with people with whom he went to grammar school. They went to,
Wow.
St. Dorothy's Catholic School. They still celebrate birthdays. They celebrate all of those things. And as they have gotten older and moved through life, some of them have now transitioned. But it is that relationship that sustains them. It's pure. It's just wonderful to observe. And when I first met them, I was like, are you kidding me? You've known those people all this time. And they have sustained the relationship through all of the things that can happen in life. And it's a good model. And perhaps it's their Catholic education that made them so close to each other because they were trained a certain way. But even today, they're still just, it's wonderful to watch the evolution and the maintaining of those relationships.
That's so beautiful. I know we have a clip here. Let's hear what John has to say about how he's maintained those friends and what it means to him.
Well, again, I don't know if it's from my family or Catholic school raising, but people are important to me. I gravitate to people. I always wanted brothers and sisters. Maybe that's the reason why. Friends are important to me. I value them, and I don't ever want to lose them. The people that I've known from grammar school, I cultivate that relationship because we need to take care of each other. Maybe one person is sick at this point in time or somebody is depressed. So I cultivate those relationships and they help me as well. They give me grounding as well as they give me nurturing. So you have to have other people in your life because everybody brings something different. And I just enjoy it.
And that is beautiful. I love what John says about friendship and how he finds that joy outside of your relationship too. And that makes him even a better partner for you, that you don't have to have that pressure or expectation to keep him joyful or happy in that own way that fills something else for him. My husband, on the other hand, often makes fun of how my friends become such a big, important part of my life. But it is true. I think he says sometimes I would maybe choose them, which is not over my family, which is not true. But they have been there to sustain me through so much and bring me a lot of great wisdom and discernment and share their experiences with me to help me, whether it's through motherhood or with a job. But let's listen to my husband make fun of my friendships a little bit.
So I know why Anna brought this up is because she always has to be with her friends and I don't. Now, granted, for us, we try to do a trip once a year, the Chicago crew, but we don't need to see each other. Anna has to see her friends. If she doesn't see her friends for a couple of weeks, it's like the world's ending. Right? Like us, we can go months not even seeing each other, even probably years. And as soon as we get back together, we're back together because we talk to each other, right? And so I don't understand it as much. I've accepted it for Anna. I don't even try to understand anymore. I just think that, like, regardless of what Anna says, I think that she would take her friends over her family sometimes.
Never.
Well, I think, Anna, one of the beautiful things about you is that you're very discerning, but you also have such an open heart that you gather people in a way that makes them feel they're a part of something, and that once they become a part of your family, friends and family, you attend to relationships. Our friendships are like a garden that has multiple flowers. Each flower needs something different, right? You do something to roses that you wouldn't do to daffodils or whatever it is. And that is how you tend to your relationships. That's one of the reasons that I love you and think that you are such a wonderful friend, is because you're attentive to those relationships. You're not interested in people because of their power, their position, or the way they look or whatever. You genuinely get to know them and they become a part of it. So Reyahd, honey, she is going to love you no matter what. She just has room and is very capable of making sure that all of those relationships flourish. You know, one of my favorite Girl Scout songs, we used to sing it in Girl Scouts, is "Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other's gold." So those gold friendships, right, like John has had from grammar school, and I've got some gold friendships from growing up in Milwaukee. Some people talk about ride or die. We've got those people. If I'm in crises, those are the folks I want by my side. They're no judgment, but they know how to do it. My sister friends who, if there's a health issue and John's in the hospital, I know they're showing up with my favorite cup of coffee or tea. I don't have to tell them. They just show up. And so those are the kinds of relationships that we cultivate. And those silver friends, you and I would be silver friends, right? We've known each other for a while, but we met, there was a connection. And so gold and silver is fine. And there's some platinum. Now the platinums are the OGs in my life. These are folks who, have known me forever. The ones that, you want to give them, I do my diaries if I, when I die, because
Yes.
nobody should be, that.
And you were
But I
hoping,
think,
and you were so glad that social media wasn't around back in the day.
hello, that thing. We've talked about those, but I think, exactly. So yeah, that to me is telling the story. And when we can navigate life with that and then have our, husbands as a part of that, we are blessed beyond measure.
Oh, blessed beyond measure. And you almost made me cry here because I do love so deeply and I do try to keep my heart open. And I think that's important for all of us as we're going through life. We have our gold friends, our silver and our platinum, but don't close off your heart to what could be if you meet someone along the way. And even now, Reyahd and I are on a new journey with Rihanna in school. She's starting school. We're meeting some new parents and we're meeting some new families and thinking some of these families or some of these church couples we're meeting could be lifelong friends. And what I could miss out on of learning or experiencing by keeping closed off to just what I have. And that is also growth that we see in our relationship. So thank you for that compliment, Connie. I received because you have a huge heart too. And you have also taken so many of us under your wings and mentored us and given us wisdom and let us be part of your life. So I want to pay that forward as well.
Yeah.
Throughout
Love
life.
only multiplies, right?
It only multiplies.
It multiplies.
And
It's a force multiplier.
So funny, as more love you have in your life, the more capacity you have to love people.
Exactly.
And I think that's so incredibly important. Well, our husbands are saying, well, my husband is saying, we're being a little too serious. And so we've got to lighten the mood here. Connie and I go deep. There's no surface level conversations with Connie and I, right? We take it all the way deep. And so, but let's have a little fun. We had some rapid fire questions for our husbands. And I don't really remember what they said, Connie, but oh, God help us. Let's see what they said to these rapid fire questions and have a little fun.
The first one is, what relationship advice would you give to a newly married couple or maybe even newly engaged couple?
Be honest.
Communicate in whatever capacity that is, because you may think that you say something, but the other person doesn't necessarily receive it.
Okay, guys, what's one thing you wish you would have done early on in your marriage as an individual?
I got away from church, individually speaking, and in retrospect, I would like to have stayed closer to church once I got to my 20s. But I can't think of anything that we should have done differently early on in our relationship.
I would say learned to accept Anna for who she is. And obviously, I know I'm not perfect. So if I'm not perfect and I mess up, why would I not do the same for Anna? And it's not the forgiveness piece, right? Or the forgetting piece. It's just don't set the expectations you have for yourself on other people. It's like the let go, let God sermon. I wish I would have, I'm still not perfect at that, but I wish I would have probably been more conscientious of it. I think is probably the best way to explain it in our relationship.
John and Reyahd, how do you keep it fresh?
Oh, just being real and talking, and that's the key, communicating.
How do you have fun together? How do you keep the fun in a marriage?
Well, I think the fun is dictated on what you consider fun and not consider fun. But I enjoy sitting on the couch and watching movies and TV with you. But you would prefer
me too
going to watch a sunset, right, John?
Well, okay, joint fun though, Reyahd. Reyahd, you and I love to travel. We love to travel
100%.
together.
Yeah, joint fun. Yes, traveling with you without our daughters.
Okay. What is your favorite thing to do for date night?
We have popcorn and sit on the couch and do something like that for date night. And then sometimes we'll go out to eat and go out with our friends, Reyahd and Anna. So Connie keeps it fresh in terms of there's always something to do. And date night is always fun.
I would say, well, what I like to do, like I said, is I would just rather watch a movie and eat ice cream. But oftentimes Anna wants to be active and do a million different things.
Okay.
It's true. But we did a really fun movie in the park. We hadn't done that in years. Who in the relationship keeps your home tidy and neat?
Me. That's not even a question.
John.
Oh my. Okay, I gotta.
Good job, John.
No way. No way. I was like, oh my God,
You
no.
clean. I keep it tidy.
Oh,
That's John. Good. I like it.
if we could just see his workspace. Anyway, John has papers everywhere. But anyway, okay.
So does
Clean
Reyahd,
tight.
but
My
I digress.
workspace is very tidy as of
Exactly.
yesterday.
Because the cleaning lady was here, everybody. Just for the record, the cleaning
Oh,
lady
that's
was here.
hilarious.
So he has to clean before the cleaning lady. But anyway.
Okay, John and Reyahd, who forces you all out of your comfort zone the most?
I force myself and Anna out of her comfort zone the most.
That's
It's me.
true. Name one bucket list item you have left to do in your marriage.
More travel.
That's awesome.
I don't have a bucket list. I live every day in the present moment. I ain't got no bucket list.
Oh man,
Okay,
I love it.
Connie.
So if you
Jeez,
kick the
Connie.
bucket, there's nothing there to be worried about. So
I
never had a
love it.
bucket list.
See why so many of us want to be like you when we grow
Okay,
up, Connie? Because
okay.
listen to your
You
answer.
do not. You do not.
And this is the last question. Describe your partner in 3 words.
Faith-filled, fun, and a third word I would say is genuine. But since you guys had to call me Rev earlier, there's one scripture that I think signifies Anna that's more than 3 words, but we can use 5 words from it. And so I'm going to decrease. I'll delete the first 2 because I just thought about it. So Colossians 3:12 says, "Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with," and these are like literally Anna's 5 words: compassion, kindness, gentleness, humility, and patience. I say those are her. Those work for her, in my opinion.
Oh, thank
But
you.
you're fun, honey. I'll be honest. You're fun. You are
I am
not
fun.
funny, not funny. You are fun. Okay, F-U-N. Don't add the N-Y. She thinks she's funny, but just F-U-N.
That got me there. The 5 words and quoting
Oh,
scripture.
I introduced you one time before, and I said that,
You
so
did.
it's genuinely what I think.
You did.
John, do you have 3 words for Connie? Because if you can pull this off, you are literally the penultimate human being.
All right. Caring, loving, and
Ah,
very intelligent.
Mm.
wow.
Those are all the
I'll
things
take
she
that.
is. And I think all of it is also joy. Okay,
Joy.
wait, this is the really last question. We ask all of our guests this, and this is the last question. Define joy for us.
Peace in yourself.
Man. Jeez. Woo. Brother Blackburn, man. I think I like how you said that. Peace in yourself. I think joy is comfort, right? Inside and out.
Yes,
And we can
yes.
only get that since we're all faithful here. I think you can only get that from God, to be honest with you, before
Amen.
anything else. So
Amen. Amen.
Amen and amen. We've
And
got some
amen.
funny husbands here. I love that my husband thinks I don't like to sit on the couch and watch movies. I do. I just also like adventure. So if we're out on a vacation, I don't want to sit in the hotel and watch a movie. I want to go see a sunset or try a new restaurant or things like that. So I do like to chill. I do like to hang out at home. But I am extreme extrovert, which Connie knows. So I do love people and like to plan things, plan my joy. But I also can chill too.
I feel that there's been a lot of growth in our time together because John said one of the key things is communicating, which it's the talking, and he's a man of few words, right? And so I'm like, woo, victory here. Just the
Victory.
communicating. Yeah. And I'm an introvert and he's not. So I appreciate about him that he understands my need to not always be engaged, Anna, unlike you, my dear.
I know.
To be still, and he's gotten this family addiction that our family has, and people, it's to popcorn. We make popcorn, and so that is things that we love to do if we're when we're having time at home. I think that that's important for us, and it's wonderful to be able to do that at times because John is like Anna in some ways. He likes to go,
And I
likes
didn't
to do
realize
stuff.
that. But then when we went out to dinner that one time, he was like,
Yeah,
he was ready. And I know
yeah.
Dr. K said, he walks with her. They go on walks when she visits,
Oh
and
yeah, he loves to be around
he'll go
people.
out. Yeah, and my husband, it's so funny because when we met, he was all about going out and doing things. But I think as you have careers, we have a child
Yeah.
now. When you do find that time for downtime, it's less often than you'd had in
Mhm.
your 20s, right? And so I saw that switch during the pandemic is I was like, oh, wow, you're actually like a hybrid, extroverted, introverted. So it really has to be like
Exactly.
when he's ready. But man,
Hmm.
if that guy could just eat ice cream and watch a ton of movies and rom-coms, I'm sorry, I'm calling out,
I
but he
think
loves
they call us ambiverts, Anna. Ambiverts.
ambivert.
When necessary, we can be extroverted. Those extroverted behaviors, which when you need to talk and be around people. But that introvert in us says, if I don't have to, I don't. But when
And
I
I
need
feel for
to,
you
I
though, it's
do.
about people, right? It's about
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
kind of people you're going to be hanging out with. And
Hmm.
because when his friends come to visit or his high school friends, which he's on a text chain just like John, every single day they're on that little text chain,
Yeah.
then he's really excited. Then all of a sudden I know we're doing a football game this weekend and our whole weekend's booked. And I'm like, wait, where'd that introvert go? Oh, wait, it's your people are here and it's
Exactly.
football. So that is love. I told him I'm not wearing red, his college colors. I'm still going to be wearing, what I want. But I'm going to this football game. I'm bundling up. And that's love to go to a college football game all day and do all that
And I
stuff.
think what you see though, right, in these rapid fire questions is growth.
Yes.
We are not in a stagnant relationship. We don't want to be in a stagnant relationship. You want to have the interesting aspects of your life, and that's why having girlfriends and interests outside of the marriage that help us grow as
Hmm.
women, as leaders, that makes it interesting when we are with them. And I certainly look at the trajectory of our marriage and the growth that we've had. We got married when we were older. So the discovery part of who we were, we continue to do that, but it wasn't, the typical things that you think about. It was, how do we take two adult lives, merge those two lives together and not lose the essence of who we've allowed ourselves to become. But then we were able to pick the cool parts and say, but together as a couple, this is amazing. And how can we bless the world with who we are today and what we've learned and experienced? And so that's been a lot of fun for us as well.
I know. That's why I love having our dinners with you too, because it is a blessing to hear some of your journey and your tips on how you made it this far in your partnership. And it gives me hope and inspiration. I know it's going to our listeners as well, because I'm very grateful that I have a partner who wants to grow with me and do the work
Hmm.
together to make this a joyful marriage and a peaceful marriage. And I look back and say, wow, how far we've come and where we're going to go further. But just having partners who are willing to do the work with us and
Right.
individually and have lives outside of the marriage and not be upset because we have lives outside the marriage, but instead know that that only enriches our marriage and partnership. So you said it so beautifully, as always, Connie. And I hope this pod can be a blessing to many listening and
Hmm.
feel like you're not alone. And we go through some of the same conflict struggles with you all and have found some tools to help us navigate it. And whether it's private or professional or personal life. So I know today, though, you're going to leave us with your word. And Connie always has a word for us, and say less. So, Connie, what do you have to end us out today?
Thank you, Anna. And this word, our listeners and followers hear it a lot from us because it is central to how we live, who we are, and why we even started this podcast in the first place. And the word is joy. And I found this piece that was written, and I want to just share that with our listeners. It was written by Donna Ashworth. I think it really epitomizes, what we talk about. And it goes as follows. Joy does not arrive with a fanfare on a red carpet strewn with the flowers of a perfect life. Joy sneaks in as you pour a cup of coffee, watching the sun hit your favorite tree just right. And you usher joy away because you're not ready for it. Your house is not as it must be for such a distinguished guest, but joy cares nothing for your messy home or your bank balance or your waistline. You see, joy is supposed to slither through the cracks of your imperfect life. That's how joy works. You cannot invite her. You can only be ready when she appears, and hug her with meaning, because in this very moment, joy chose you. That's our word, joy.
Thank you, Connie. I feel that and I receive it. And we hope you, as our listeners, feel that joy, feel that love that we are sending your way. And we're so excited to share with you today a little bit more about our personal lives and journey with the men in our lives. So thank you for joining us today, and we wish you joy.
Always. The Joy in the Breakthrough podcast is hosted by Anna Valencia and me, Connie Lindsey.
And podcasting is a team sport, so thank you to our dream team, our producer, Anna Deshawn, our editor, Laura Jimenez, our video editor, Joelle Ortiz.
To learn more about today's guests or the show, visit our show notes on our website, joyitbpod.com, and on Instagram at joyitbpod.
Joy in the Breakthrough is a production of The Cube, spelled with a Q. The Cube is your #1 curated platform to discover the best BIPOC podcasts. Support this show and more like it by joining The Cube app and follow The Cube across social media at The Cube app.
Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you again on the next episode.